Today, we'll have a discussion of faith. Faith as it applies to spiritual transformation of one's life. Faith as it applies to keeping strong in your walk even when things are uncertain. Faith in the face of things unknown in real life. Welcome to this episode of Real Life with Lola, where today we'll meet Wanda, and Wanda has decided to share her journey of faith with us. In putting this together, we discovered that faith is something that many people are reluctant to talk about. It's almost taboo in today's society as people find themselves relying more on worldly things, worldly figures, and objects in search of. But in search of what? Here in this segment, we'll turn to Wanda to hear about the role faith played in her life at a pivotal point as a young mother married with 4 children and then abandoned by her spouse. When putting together this series, I discovered that faith is an issue a lot of people are reluctant to talk about. And why do you think that is?
I believe that most people that this generation, they are so more entitled to worldly things than really actual godly things. So if someone is really faithful, they hide it. They kind of push it back because it's nothing that anyone wants to bring to the forefront. You know what I mean? You have a certain age group that's really into their faith, but someone young is something that typically another young person wouldn't want to see or know about because it's games, it's video games, it's, dating, it's going out, it's hanging with my friends and stuff like that. So I believe that they pull it back versus releasing it, bringing it to that way that, any age you can be. You can be young, you can be middle-aged, older. If you have faith and you believe, it should be something that should be spoken of. You know what I mean? It should be something that's brought front. And actually, in this time that we're in, it's something that definitely has to be brought to the front.
Have you always been a person of faith?
I think I've always been a person of faith, even when I lived a life that was not of God. I believe that at that point, what I did, I always would be in a place where immediately I would get this sense of, why are you doing that? It's not, you shouldn't be here.
So it sounds like I'm hearing you say there's always been a spiritual foundation present for you.
Yes.
Yet you expressed there was a time when your lifestyle didn't reflect your current beliefs.
Right.
Can you talk about that a little?
Well, I was married and I had 4 kids. And at that time, my husband left and I had 4 kids. And so I had to I didn't know what I was going to do.
You say you were a married woman with 4 children.
Right.
And your husband abandoned the family.
Right.
What was that like for you?
That was like I had let the fairy tale that I believed in of marriage and family, it wasn't a reality to me anymore. It wasn't something that I should believe in anymore because I believed in marriage and the husband, the wife, the family, the house, the gatherings. But at this time, to me, what happened is that I started to feel like, okay, wait a minute, that was me believing in something that's not actually real, So at that point is when I went the other direction. I went the other direction, searching for something that was for me, trying to find myself.
Thus far in this segment, we've heard Wanda talk about her walk, her difficult walk from believing in that foundation that so many of us believe in, to being in a world where she feels that she's floundering and door after door and opportunity after opportunity seems to be evading her. But Wanda did not give up She persevered. And here she is to share with us how that perseverance came about and how it impacted her life. Okay. And how do you feel like that path influenced your life during that time?
I think that path influenced me to a place where I had to look at all my mistakes. I had to look at all my downfalls.
That can be really hard for a person to face themselves.
It was hard to face it. And even though yet it's hard to face it, you're not knowing at this point where your strength is coming from. You're not knowing at this place, how did I get past this? How did I get past living a life, this particular life that's has brought me to a place of unforgiveness? I'm thinking to myself that I can't even forgive myself. I'm not even in the place yet that I'm thinking of God yet in that place. But I'm definitely at a place where I'm thinking, I have lived this life that is a no. It's a no. It's a no. It's a no. So when am I going to get to that point that I'm going to have that yes? You understand? When am I going to get that point where I have that yes? Where it's going to be my yes?
And so that's faith, essentially, believing in what's to come, in the unseen, believing that those possibilities and the yes do still exist for you.
Exactly.
Even when you've heard no over and over again.
Right.
And so in order to transform your life to be where you are now, what was the turning point? When did you decide to have your faith become the central part of your life?
I found myself in multiple churches, serving in churches. You know, this is a start. This is, for the Black American, this is a start. You start with church and you go through different churches, but there's always something missing. There's always missing. You can be in church for 20 years and still not understand that something is definitely missing in your life. And so I got to a point where I realized that God was who that all along had always been with me. To think about now at this particular time in my life that I have a prayer closet. And as I was younger and as I was older, I would always find my comfort to go in that closet. So now in my relationship with God, I'm in a place now that I can see from all the years back that I always was in a closet, but I didn't know my purpose in that closet. Now I know the purpose in that closet because I'm faithful, because I'm in that closet, because I know my relationship and I know God is my source of that relationship. So everything that we do in life, everything mistake that we have done, everything that we have looked over, it is a purpose for that. The things that you do have a purpose for you to learn from it, and it has a purpose to take you further. So when I started understanding that, I was going further. When I found myself in a place truly, even after I've been in a certain church for a long time, but as I found myself in a place of saying to God, God, I need you here. I need you here. And that came to me when I got my second occurrence of breast cancer. And that's when I said to myself, God, I see you. And I'm doing this with you.
There was a time.
I'm like, God, I see you. Yes. I'm like, God, I see you now.
So tell me about that, because to battle breast cancer and come through triumphant one time must feel like the greatest feeling in the world.
Correct.
And so to go in for, I'm sure, your yearly screening and just maintenance, and get the devastating news of it's back. Take us back to that point in time.
So God had previously prepared me. It was during the Easter holiday. And I had my regular mammogram. I had just started my yearly mammogram because you go 6 months when you first, and this had been 7 years that for my first occurrence. So to me, I'm good. So now I go for my yearly mammogram now. and they suspect something. They really can't see it, but they expect something. And I'm getting that little anxious moment where like, okay, all right, I'm sitting in the waiting room waiting, I should be ready to go, let me go. And then they said, well, we want to check you again. We want to do another ultrasound again. We want to.
Were you alone during
I was
this
by
time?
myself. I was by myself. So I'm sitting there just expecting someone to come, okay, we'll see you next year. And I'm not getting anybody. I'm like, okay, time is passing. Nobody's here yet. And so we do the another ultrasound, another mammogram, and the radiologist say, you know what, we're going to do a biopsy just to make sure, because we know that the type is very aggressive. So we're going to do ahead and do the mammogram. And so I had two choices at that time. Either I'll let myself go and just crumble and lose my faith at that moment and give into what was happening to me, or I was going to stand with it. And so he said, well, we'll get your results back in a week, so we see you next Friday. And I said, you know what we're going to do? You're going to give me 2 weeks. And I'm going to go and I'm going to sit with God for a little while.
Why did you need that 2 weeks?
I needed that 2 weeks so that I can prepare myself, mentally prepare myself, and to listen to what God needed to tell me that he already knew. You see, he knew this already. I just didn't. So by that I knew it, I had to go in before him, not to say, oh, why me? I had to go before him like, okay, so tell me the plan. Tell me the plan, how we going to work this out. Tell me the plan, how I'm going to walk this thing out. Just tell me everything that I'm needing to do.
So even in the midst of this news, it sounds like I'm hearing you say you continue to be in service to your God. Yes, and say, you know what? Absolutely. Use me. Show me the plan.
Yes. Yes. To use me, because for your purpose, there is a purpose in everything. God has a purpose in everything that we do. Every single thing.
That's a huge demonstration of strength and faith on your part. But what about your loved ones? How did they take all of this?
Well, at the time, I knew that what God was saying to me is that I need you. I need you at the most humbleness that you can give me. I need you to be at a place where you're listening to me closely. I want all the noise away from you. So I told no one. I didn't tell my children. I didn't tell my mother. I told no one. This was a walk that I went every day with every scan, every MRI, everything I did by myself. And every single appointment, I spoke to another individual and I spoke life into them. See, it was never about me. Even though it was happening to me, God was placed me in a place that I can speak to this woman and tell her that it's going to be okay.
So
God,
you could pass on that
yes,
positive energy,
yes,
so that you could help transform someone else's experience.
Yes. So even going and doing the test where they want to look in your veins to see where it is and everything, I met a beautiful lady, and she was there getting same test as I was getting, and we just talked about the glory of God, being faithful in it, trusting him in it, knowing that it might look a certain way and we might not understand why, but it's not our question to ask why. It's our only duty that we have as individuals is to walk through it.